Good evening, everyone. Thank you. We're just about to start. Thank you.
What is Santacruzan? Santacruzan is a religious historical pageant held in the Philippines during the month of May. It depicts the finding of the Holy Cross of our Lord Jesus Christ by Queen Helena, the mother of the very powerful Emperor Constantine the Great, who ended the persecution of Christians. Constantine, the Emperor of Rome, centuries ago, dreamt that he was asked to go to the battlefield to fight in the name of the Holy Cross. He conquered his enemy, and that victory led to his conversion to Christianity. He became the first Christian emperor in history. His mother, Empress Helena, was inspired by his experiences, and in the year 326 AD went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land to seek the Holy Cross on which Christ was nailed. She successfully found the Holy Cross, complete with its inscription INRI. The festivity commemorates the search for the Holy Cross by Empress Helena and her son, the newly converted emperor. After finding the Holy Cross in Jerusalem, it was authenticated by a miracle of healing that was attributed to it and was brought back to Rome. The search was marked with a joyful celebration of thanksgiving. The religious procession is a reenactment of the celebration of the finding of the Holy Cross by Reina Helena.
What is the Flores de Mayo? This is a religious festival in honor of Mary, the mother of the Son of God, Jesus Christ. The feast is marked with the offering of flowers by Sagalas, or shepherd girls. The Mayflower offering may refer to the whole flower festival celebrated during the month of May in honor of the Virgin Mary. During the festival in May, flowers are offered to the Virgin Mary at the altar in the church. Every afternoon, young girls dressed in white visit the church with cut flowers or baskets of petals in their hands. While walking to the altar, they either sprinkle the petals in honor of Mama Mary or offer bouquets of flowers. The Santacruzan procession is always the final part and the highlight of the festival of Flores de Mayo. The procession is a pageant held in many cities and even in small villages. Instead of icons or images, beautiful women called Sagalas, wearing elegant or theatrical costumes, portray biblical characters, the many titles of the Blessed Mother, and personify Empress Helena. This custom and celebration started after the proclamation of the dogma of the Immaculate Conception in 1854. Introduced by the Spanish conquerors, this religious tradition is more than 100 years old and lives even more in Europe and America. The tradition is religiously celebrated, preceded by the 9 days of prayer, a novena in honor of the Holy Cross, and coupled with the Flores de Mayo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Star-Spangled Banner, led by Bea Resplendor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine National Anthem, Lupang Hinirang, led by Aika Santos.
Bayang magiliw, pinas ng sinanganan, palog ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, samang lulupi, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simuyan, sa langit mong baghaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa pagnayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw ng kailang, pag may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw-nawan, ating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming nikayang nampan, may mga api, ang namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Reina Elena 2020, Miss Antoinette Lim, and Reina Elena 2011, Miss Del Zagala. Karina Santos, who would have portrayed Reina de las Flores, Mother Mary, Queen of Flowers, will not be joining us today as she is currently out of the country. Let us thank and acknowledge Karina for her generous participation and hard work. When the native tribes of the Philippines still practiced pagan rituals and the dominant religion of the land was the Muslim religion, Christianity was introduced by the Spaniards, who catechized the Filipino nation and would later be known as the Christian country of the Far East. Santacruzan has become a popular retelling of biblical and historical female personages who contributed to the faith, culminating it with Queen Helena, who embarked on a pilgrimage to find the true cross of Christ. Today, we honor a memorable woman from the New Testament, Veronica, portrayed by Miwa Star. Saint Veronica was the woman moved by pity. She wiped the face of Jesus with a cloth as he carried his cross to Golgotha. Jesus accepted the offering, and once his face was wiped, his image was miraculously imprinted on it. She carries a scarf with the face of Jesus. Miwa is escorted by Conrad Gamboa.
We honor the many titles of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Reina de las Virgines, Mother Mary, Queen of Virgins, portrayed by Michelle Silva Yanda. The personification of Mother Mary, which inspires, symbolizes, and honors all the young and unwed women of the world. She carries a rosary and is surrounded by angels. Michelle is escorted by Emmanuel Yanda. The angels are portrayed by Janelle Malibiran and Ilaya Bautista. Rosa Mystica, Mary, the mystical rose, portrayed by Joanne Aguinaldo. Mary, the most beautiful of God's creation, is indeed the incarnate rose, especially chosen for God's garden. She is the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valleys. There is no rose comparable to her, and she has made paradise ever so much beautiful. She carries a bouquet of roses. Joanne is escorted by Franklin Aguinaldo II. Reina de los Profetas, Mother Mary, Queen of Prophets, portrayed by Marites Santiago. For Catholics, calling Mary Queen of Prophets is a reminder that the prophets of the Old Testament looked ahead to the mother of the Messiah, as well as the Messiah himself. However, Our Lady was herself also regarded as a prophet. That she is a prophet is part of the gospel portrait of the Virgin Mother of Jesus. She carries an hourglass. Marites is escorted by Alvin Santiago. Reina del Santissimo Rosario, Queen of the Most Holy Rosary, portrayed by Angela Tubig. Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary is a venerated title of the Blessed Virgin Mary, associated with the same image in the Philippines. Pious believers believe that the Virgin's intercession under this title helped to defeat the invading forces of the Protestant Dutch Republic during the Battle of La Naval de Manila in 1646. She carries a large rosary. Angelica is escorted by Kevin Maneses. Reina Justicia, Mother Mary, Queen of Justice, portrayed by Glenna Agbayani. The personification of the Blessed Mother as the mirror of justice. We need not ask why she is called a mirror, for we know that it was God in his glorious perfections, which is Jesus, who was reflected in Mary. She carries a weighing scale and a sword. Glenna is escorted by Jeff Junio.
Reina Paz, Mother Mary, Queen of Peace, portrayed by Faye David. Mother Mary, the lover of peace, implores us to keep our eyes and our focus on God for the world to have peace. She carries the symbol of peace, which is a dove. Faye is escorted by Rod David. Reina de las Estrellas, Mother Mary, Queen of the Stars, portrayed by Cherry Pie de Vera. Mary, who is blessed among all women, holds a special place among the stars. She carries a wand with a star. Cherry is escorted by Roberto Rosales. Reina del Cielo, Mother Mary, Queen of Heaven, portrayed by Maria Tolentino. The Catholic teaching on this subject is expressed by the papal encyclical Ad Celi Reginam, issued by Pope Pius XII. It states, Mary is called the Queen of Heaven because her Son, Jesus Christ, is the King of Israel and heavenly King of the universe. In the Hebrew tradition, the mother of the king is the queen. She carries a flower. Mariah is escorted by Jared Zapata. Reina de los Ángeles, Queen of Angels, portrayed by Mary Joy Angeles. We know in simple, childlike faith that the Blessed Virgin Mary is, in flesh and blood, holier, more beautiful, more powerful, and closer to God in divine union than all the choirs and hierarchies of angels put together. Mary is the Queen of Angels. The angels obey her slightest command with royal angelic love. She carries a bouquet of flowers. Mary Joy is escorted by David de los Reyes. The angels are portrayed by Riley Capacillo and Madison Agramon.
We now honor the three virtues. Reina de la Fe, Mother Mary, Queen of Faith. She symbolizes the theological virtue of faith. She carries a cross. Ladies and gentlemen, Reina de la Fe, portrayed by Christmas Tilatili, escorted by Gerald Tilatili. The crown bearer is Avra Christopher Ramos. Reina de la Esperanza, Mother Mary, Queen of Hope. She symbolizes the theological virtue of hope. She carries an anchor. Ladies and gentlemen, Reina de la Esperanza, portrayed by Pauline Uy, escorted by Ron Lebeau. The crown bearer is Luca Alexander Santucci.
Reina de la Caridad, Mother Mary, Queen of Charity. She symbolizes the theological virtue of charity. She carries a red heart. Ladies and gentlemen, Reina de la Caridad, portrayed by Alexia Trinidad. escorted by Alec Trinidad. Their crown bearer is Antonio Carmelo Balmaceda.
Reina Elena, Empress Helena of the True Cross, was a legendary founder of the True Cross. Despite being advanced in age, she traveled to the Holy Land in search of the cross that Jesus was crucified on. She found 3 crosses and proved which cross was true by having a woman who was already at the point of death brought from Jerusalem. When the woman touched the first and second crosses, her condition did not change, but when she touched the third and final cross, she suddenly recovered. Helena declared the cross with which the woman had been touched to be the true cross and brought it back to Rome. The true cross is represented by the small cross she carries. She is escorted by her son, Constantine. Ladies and gentlemen, Reina Elena, the legendary founder of the true cross where Jesus was crucified, portrayed by Vicky Palomar. Ed Palomar portrays Constantine. The flower girl is Vanessa Palomar, and the crown bearer is Vinnie Palomar.
We will now have the coronation of the reinas. Reinas, Please be seated for the crowning. Reina Fe, Christmas Tili Tile, will be crowned by Father June Mbile Jr. and Council Member Flor Nicolas. Reina Esperanza will be crowned by Father Raul de los Santos and Vice Consul Hannah Go.
Reina Caridad will be crowned by Father Ifaenye Iwabokionye and Del Zagala. Ladies and gentlemen, the crowning of Reina Elena 2025 will be done by Father Ray Reyes and Reina Elena 2020, Antoinette Lim.
May we please have Flor Nicolas come up?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Flor Nicolas, and I'm one of the City Council members of South San Francisco. And on behalf of the City Council of South San Francisco, we hereby congratulate these four ladies, Vicky, Alexia, Pauline, and Christmas, for being crowned reinas here at the St. Augustine Parish, Santacruzan 2025. We thank you for your faithful stewardship that enriches our community. So I have some goodies here from South San Francisco and the certificates.
We now invite our pastor, Father Ray Reyes, for closing remarks and acknowledgments.
Just some brief remarks. I mentioned earlier at the end of the Mass how grateful the parish clergy and staff to the committee of the 2025 Santacruzan who worked for many hours organizing this, and along with the collaboration for the Sagalas, their families, those who have supported them, and for all the many days that they have worked hard. And I can be proud to share with you, their efforts in terms of how much we can measure the effort they have put together. They have helped raise over $150,000 for the parish. And of course, more importantly than this is the gesture of proclaiming and experiencing themselves the meaning of the cross, which they have been proclaiming from the beginning. And if you have listened at the beginning, the finding of the Holy Cross was so significant to the early church. It is again an invitation for all of us. At that time, they experienced the peace and many healing of reconciliation and experience of God's mercy. And I know in one way and many other ways, our Sagalas, their families have experienced similar experience and faith of dedication and courage. So we appreciate them all for their faithful witness and generosity of themselves along with their loved ones. And we thank our committee, once again, the 2025, headed by no other than Cleo Cruz. Where are you? Stand up, please. Miss Cleo. And all the committee have worked the backbone of this great celebration. We'll come to know them later during the reception. And once again, brothers and sisters, thank you so much, and God bless us all on this wonderful evening as we reenact the finding of the Holy Cross.
I want to call up Ate Malu Ku to Yes. All right.
Give another round of applause to Cleo Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, also let's give a round of applause to all of our Sagalas 2025. And I believe our Sagalas are going to lead us to the hall for the procession.
Go back to the stage. Will all the Sagalas please come back up to the stage? We need the Sagalas, all the Sagalas, please come up to the stage.